All right. Hello, everybody. This is the Battlefront Livestream podcast, for lack of a better name. I am your host, Nathan P. Butler. You can find my Star Wars Timeline Gold, the most comprehensive Star Wars chronology available anywhere at StarWarsFanWorks.com/timeline. On this channel, you'll find things like From the Star Wars Home Video Library and a guide to Disney Infinity for Star Wars fans. Over at StarWarsReport.com, you can find the podcasts I'm involved with right now, Star Wars Beyond the Films and Cloud City Casino. And speaking of Cloud City Casino, for once, it won't just be me babbling here. Have with me this time in the party chat. I was going to say my co-host for Cloud City Casino, but really I'm kind of like his co-host. I'm like the extra spare wheel when Bruce left that is now sort of bouncing along as best as possible. So the originator of Cloud City Casino, Mr. Michael Morris. Hello, Michael.
What it do?
Almost feel like saying hello.
Kids still say that, right?
What it do? Yeah, kids.
The kids still say
who
that?
like grew up in the early '90s might still say that.
Well, guess what?
There you go.
Guess when I grew up.
There you go. All right, so we are connecting
I don't
now.
know, man. All right.
And my stuff's still going off. There we go. So we are connecting. We are in Zepate. For those of you who don't ever play this as a in the party chat with anybody to have a partner and whatnot, if you look way up here at the top, you got your icon. Next to it, you've got pick a partner. That's where we'll connect here so that we're partners in the game instead of it being randomly assigned. And then you got his name as one of the ones that's in there. Of course, none of the icons are friggin' showing up. They never do, seems like. And then we have invite to party. And it's 2 out of 8, and that refers to the people in the party chat. But that also, at least on the PlayStation 4, carries over into the game itself as your party to choose your partners from, just in case that's never been made clear, because I've barely ever done the live stream when we got somebody on with me. So I'm going to now pick Mr. Morris Isley here. Partner invite sent.
And I see it this time.
Hey, he actually saw it this time. Hello, Kenny. All right. So we got 3 viewers now. Yeah, he won't be able to see the little chat on the side. So 3 viewers right now. 1 comment. Comment is a hello from Kenny Crayley Jr., who of course listens to a lot of the shows from Star Wars Report. All right. So I am in the midst of one of the many hut contracts. But I'm kind of in an interesting spot. I was able to finally get the ones that were bugging out on me the last couple of times done, so now I just need another, 26 kills with any heavy blaster to finish contract killer. So it doesn't matter where it is, it doesn't matter really why I'm killing them so much as they're dead. So, pick a mode, any mode. If you like there, Michael, we could do anything from... I mean, we could do multiplayer. We could do missions for all I care at this point. Whatever you like, you choose it, and it'll drag me along with you.
All right, let's do.
Pick thy poison.
Hold on. Can you go in and just do the? Wait, what is? Sorry.
Are you
You
trying
can't just pick the one extraction.
Oh, sort of.
I'll just go down to the
okay.
outer rim.
Yeah, so you can go to Outer Rim. I've hit accept. If you go to Outer Rim, you can hit square and you can choose extraction. The problem is, after it does those 2 sides, it will just throw you into some other game mode. And it's like, why the hell did I even choose extraction? It just chooses your entry point.
So you play it sooner rather than later.
Exactly. Question from Dante MJJ Deadpool, who asks, what's the best thing you have in your Star Wars collection? Personally, if it's something that I've bought, I would say it would have to be something in my Star Wars home video collection, because that's the one that I've really been very proud of. I'm not sure if it'd be the Japanese set of special collection laser discs, or possibly the Executor set from the UK. I mean, really kind of anything within there, depending on why it's in there, kind of stands out to me. But actually I call it the binder. When I wrote for Star Wars Tales back in 2004, I kept track of all the different drafts we went through, all the different email communications between me and Jeremy Barlow and whatnot. Basically the whole creative process. And I've got printouts of all that stuff inside a big 3-ring binder. So for me, it'd be the binder, although it's not really a Star Wars collectible so much as it's more of a personal thing. That or, oh, I forgot to switch my weapons. That or the copy of the Imperial March that we used at my wedding. I edited the Imperial March and Here Comes the Bride together, so it's like dun 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 dun, and then eventually it goes back to Here Comes the Bride. My wife's idea, and I love her greatly for it. Michael, what do you think? What's your favorite thing within your collection?
So number one's easily got to be the first thing that I ever got that was Star Wars. And then I actually just got it back again here for Christmas, was my original bed sheets that were those old, you see, if you go to like a convention or something, like, especially like a celebration, you'll see everybody has these bed sheets. So they're not like very rare, but they're back from the 80s, and my mom had got them from like a yard sale or something when I was a kid. And they sort of just disappeared, and she recently found them. So as a surprise, she tossed them.
Oh, nice!
She tossed them in a bag, and then so I opened them up for Christmas. I was like, "Shit! I thought this was gone."
Wow. See, you said you got them back. I was thinking you meant like it was something you had before, and now you've picked up some like the same item again, but not necessarily the exact same.
Right.
But wow, that's actually pretty cool.
No, they're the actual original ones that I had as a kid.
Sweet. Let's see. Question from Kenny. Because we sometimes talk non-Star Wars stuff, depending on how the questions go. The question he asks is whether or not I or we, because I'm not sure if you watch them or not, are thinking that Supergirl is going to be renewed by CBS or be picked up by the CW. I don't know. It's all going to depend on how their move to Vancouver works, because they're talking about moving it to Vancouver, where they also film Arrow and Legions of Tomorrow and The Flash. Though, honestly, if they're going to do that, they might as well move it to CW. CW's half owned by CBS anyway, so why not? But I don't know. We'll just have to see. Let's see. And Jacob, thank you very much. Jacob says, I got to kind of say it out loud so Michael hears it, that this is his favorite YouTube channel, and to keep up the great work. I appreciate that. Hopefully I'll be able to keep up the quality even if my Battlefront play while I'm live streaming and trying to talk at the same time is of questionable quality. Because, God,
I don't think I've got a
sometimes.
single kill yet. Yeah, you've got 2 kills. I have 0.
Well,
we're not doing very well.
It took me until you were in the middle of answering about the favorite item for me to realize, oh, dude, we're playing Droid Run. Yeah, so that's how much I pay attention whenever I'm streaming. Because I don't want to be boring. I mean, I don't want to be one of those guys that just gets on and streams. That's why I call it the Battlefront Livestream Podcast, because it's all about the discussion and the interaction with the folks asking questions in the chat. It's not just about playing the game. You could play your own freaking game. At least I would think so.
I killed somebody.
Nice.
Yay. And I got an assist because they weren't looking at me. I was behind them.
There you go. I need to get somewhere nice and... Wow, you're redlining a little bit there, man. Let's see.
All right, there we go.
Trying to get over to... There we go. There we go. Yeah, I dropped my infantry turret over there. Sorry, I'm also checking to make sure no students need anything, as usual. But yeah, to answer a question... I missed the very top of the name again, but the MJJ Deadpool guy asked what our thoughts were on Batman vs. Superman. I thought the film was okay. I enjoyed it for what it was, but holy shit, there is no joy in that film whatsoever. There is no... The only time somebody really feels like they're having fun with the film is when Wonder Woman comes out and starts whooping butt and she's smiling. I'm like, wow, there is no joy in that movie whatsoever. See, and hello, Liam, popping back in here. And let's see. Missed who it was. It just got Bloodline and is halfway through Lost Stars and love it so far. Yeah, Claudia Gray is fantastic on Star Wars books thus far.
I got my Bloodline last night. I'm like 20 pages in, somewhere in there.
Yeah, good so far. I mean, granted, it's not very much.
Yeah,
cool.
Right.
Although
I just got it. And...
Somebody raised an interesting question on Facebook, which on the Facebook for the Star Wars Timeline Golds page, which is facebook.com/SWTimelineGold, by the way. And they asked the question, yeah, so Leia's a senator. Of what? I mean, ain't no Alderaan, so what is she a senator of? They never do say so. Which I find
that's a good question.
Bizarre.
I never thought about that. Maybe she's a senator of Yavin.
Oh, could be. I figured it was just like
or
an
indoor.
I figured it was like an at-large kind of thing, kind of like there are councilmen at large of different local districts and stuff like that. Let's see. Let's see. Quick answer for Liam, which is yes, if the Old Republic will come to PS4, I don't see that happening at all. I mean, it's designed for PC, sort of built for PC, and I think. And this, I may be incorrect on this, but I think that there may be some type of issue with the licensing where even though EA handles all the Star Wars games, I don't know that they've ever done anything with the licensing to even allow the possibility of the Old Republic to come to PS4. And then question here...
that could always happen, though. I mean,
they could change it anytime, yeah.
Right. Just depending. I mean, that stuff is so janky that it's just all of a sudden like, yeah, now this is happening. So it could turn around and then just out of the blue, they're like, this is what we're doing now. But honestly, I feel like that game probably won't. I think it's a game where they're like, we're going to let it do its thing, and we're not going to so much cancel it, but we're not really going to. You know, they don't seem to be 100% supporting it.
Yeah, because I mean they're doing a lot with it, but at the same time, they've got to be sitting back, kind of like what they, you know, like the change they're making by adding that new introductory game for The Force Awakens to the RPG, which is the oh crap, we started this when Legends was the continuity. Now it's not. What the hell do we do with this thing while it's still making money?
Yeah. It's. I mean. Like I said, I think that that's a little bit different because I think they can just continue that on with it being, there not being any sort of real storyline in it or anything like that. But because that one's just so specific to a timeline that they're not messing with right now, I think that they're just going to continue to let it do its thing. Because it's not, you know, it's not it's not contradicting anything. But at the same time, it's not really adding to the era that they are focused on at the moment. So, I think at this moment they're like, do your thing. We're not going to put any energy in you, but we'll collect the money. I would think that it probably doesn't have too long a legs left. That's just my opinion on it. I could totally be wrong, but
let's see. So, I kept bending over. I had to turn my heater on because I started to get cold up in here. And while you guys might like my Batman shirt, I doubt you're going to want to see the bat nipples on this shirt. Let's see. Have not seen Captain America Civil War yet myself. Michael, have you?
I have not, so
I'm
I
echoing
want
back
to,
a little.
but I haven't. Yeah, sorry. I think we're having some issues because you're cutting in and out on me there.
Let's see. I have not heard of a remake for Tor yet. The Old Republic yet. That would be interesting, but I haven't heard anything specific about it. We had a question a moment ago from Pride of the Fatherland, I believe was the name. I was trying to remember it because I knew we were in the middle of something else. Hey, here's your extraction. But the question was, favorite Star Wars video game? For me, it's easy. The Force Unleashed. I love the story of KOTOR, but The Force Unleashed really drew me in. I loved the gameplay of it. Sam Witwer does a fantastic job as Starkiller. And it really kind of felt like, even though it was sort of rewriting aspects of continuity and sort of tweaking what we already knew from Legends, from things like the Farlander papers, I think it played well. And by the time it was done, both of those games I really enjoyed. And I was really pissed to find there wasn't going to be a third one to wrap up its old, it's whatchamacallit, it's dangling threads. What about you, Michael? Favorite Star Wars video game?
Wait, what do you mean? They totally wrapped it up after, you know, he died at the end of the game and it's all over and they wrapped it up.
Nah, man, but then they cloned him. Oh, I get to be a hero now.
No, there was no second game.
Yes, there was. Damn it. That's weird. I couldn't choose a hero. It just threw me in as Luke. Just like the last time I tried this, it threw me in as Vader. I'm not sure why that happened. Odd.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is, I loved the first one. I would definitely put it in with my top favorite games. Probably not number one, but I would put it up there. The second one, unfortunately, it had good things to it, but it just didn't. It wasn't good.
Oh man,
a lot of it just felt so repetitive.
It's a hack and slash, bruh. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I'm laggy pretty bad right now, but I think it's because we're trying to do so much at once. I'm like, I jumped as Luke Skywalker and slashed at a guy, and the guy's standing there like, you mad, bro? So. All right, let's see. Oh. All right. As I'm trying not to die as Luke while I'm not paying attention. Oh, sorry, Morris. Isley, hey, buddy. Where's another bad guy? You're gonna kill me. Okay. Man, Luke gets killed and he goes limp-armed. There's a metaphor in there somewhere.
I guess I didn't actually answer the question, though. So I'm gonna say...
You didn't. I'm saying no, you didn't.
Maybe Battlefront 2. Yeah. Maybe Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2, Force Unleashed, and the... let's see, Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, and Dark Forces. Those games are my jam.
Nice.
You know, it's really hard to put everything directly in order, because I would even say, I remember playing. The whole reason I got a GameCube was to play the second Rogue Squadron game.
Nice.
And I could only afford to get the game and the GameCube when I first got it. So I didn't even have a memory card. So I would sit there, and that game was hard. That game was freaking hard for me. And I pretty much just, I'd play it. I would, you know, get to like maybe like the third level or something, and I'd be like, okay, I'm done. I can't go any further, and then it would completely wipe. So next time I'd have to pick it up, I'd have to start over.
Suckage. Yeah, that was kind of like whenever I got my, I guess a couple things. One, when I got my N64, one of the first things that happened was the person I was dating at the time and a buddy of mine teamed up and picked me up a Rogue Squadron and the little RAM extension pack, because if you didn't have that, Rogue Squadron wasn't going to play for crap. But then when I wrote the Tales story and finally got paid for it, the first thing I bought was an Xbox, specifically with all the Xbox exclusive Star Wars games. So KOTOR, Jedi Starfighter, I think, was one of them at the time. Just kind of getting as many of those games as I could for the original Xbox, which is my first of the Xboxes, because I had that same Xbox die a short while later. Not a Red Ring of Death, though, because we were a generation prior to Red Ring of Death at that point. Let's see.
I have the Halo edition Xbox.
Sweet. Very nice.
Yep.
I don't have it. You meant like the original Xbox?
Yeah.
Nice. I've got the only special edition console that I've got is I've got the Star Wars Kinect R2D2 and C-3PO themed Xbox 360.
Jelly. That's one thing. Like, and don't get me wrong, I like my Darth Vader PS4, but realistically, that it's not quite as good as what that R2 Xbox was. That Xbox was really nice. You know, getting the little bit of extras, like making the noises and stuff like that, was super cool. I mean, even looking at the C-3PO controller compared to this one, like, it looks like C-3PO. This is supposed to be Vader's chest box. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, this does not look like Vader's chest box.
Yeah, I went
not even a little bit.
I was gonna buy one. I was gonna buy one of the Vader controllers when they started selling them separately, and I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of neat because it actually has like Star Wars on the little, whatever that little touchpad thing is in the middle. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it actually has Star Wars written.
How did I come out as number one when I sucked in that match? I was horrible in that match. No wonder we lost before we even got to like the third marker.
I did not do very well either. I need to switch over to grenades.
I need to switch over to not sucking, basically. Yeah. All right.
We were tearing it up the other night. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, it's all right. Oh, yeah, anytime we're not going to record anything. But I think the issue there was basically the fact that we were, we're talking. So, therefore, we're allowed to suck.
Well, and also we had opponents this time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we were recording, or not recording the other night. We were just playing, and we were playing Drop Zone. And somehow we got thrown into a match where there were 3 people total. Michael, me, and one other guy who's a scout trooper. And there were no opposing players on the other team or anybody else on ours. So needless to say, we got a perfect score on that run of Drop Zone. Nobody got any kills. But we got the little award saying, you won by getting all of them in a row, or whatever the hell it is. Yeah, I'll do my... Yeah, I keep getting the little indicator saying, bad connection to server, this will affect your gameplay. I'm like, alright, fine, whatever. So, there we go. So tell us, perhaps, as we're... I think we're free of questions in the chat for a second. So I mentioned at the beginning when I introduced you, Michael, that I am now sort of your co-host, your spare tire on Cloud City Casino.
I don't know that. I don't get the whole like host co-host thing. So I just say host because I'm like I don't. What makes one a co-host and what makes one a host? I
don't do any work. I just talk. I don't do any work at all.
Well, I mean.
I barely do any work, too. I mean, that's true.
The only work that I do is actually more of what you would call a producer. So
the editing part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I guess you could say I'm like host/producer, and you're just host. That makes sense. I get that, but
that makes some sense.
Co-host, I don't get it.
Well, in any event, it's to the question I was leading to. I was segueing into was simply tell us a little bit about. Like the show and how it began, because I would imagine, and this has been the case with, I mean, really anytime we do the live streaming, that the folks who are watching this more than likely jumped in from YouTube as opposed to one of the fan pages for the podcasts, so they may not know exactly what Cloud City Casino is. So let's answer that, and then I can answer Jackson Alonso's question here.
All right, so I mean, basically, easy answer is that. Basically, I started it back. I play a lot of the tabletop games as well. Always been into the Star Wars games. So that was the thing I kind of realized, that I'm not much of a gamer as much as I like the Star Wars games. Because all the games I would really like and play a ton of were Star Wars related. So I started that, and then also was really into like some of the collecting. And it's depending on the co-host that I've had, or host, whatever. Throughout time, it's been more collecting or less collecting. So initially when I started with Eddie, it was more gaming, less collecting, and then Bruce, it was more collecting and less gaming. And so now that you're in, we're actually kind of going more toward the gaming focus. So in fact, we're actually basically just going to knock off the collecting, and either that's going to be a separate podcast or maybe a YouTube channel or blog or something. I got to figure out what outlet I want to do with the collecting side, because it works better to do that from with something more visual, I think. So
right, that's true. That's true.
But,
and someone who actually knows what the hell they're talking about, which I would not. So unless we were talking collecting Star Wars home video, man. I mean, that I've got down. But as soon as you get me on anything else, I'm like. Or I guess books and comics I could speak intelligently about, but yeah, as soon as you start being like, yeah, let's talk about Gentle Giant, I'm like, Andre?
Like the movie. Wait, no, that's Iron Giant. My bad.
Yeah, like the guy that was in Princess Bride. Luke just keeps killing me. Okay, so Jackson Alonso asks whether I know Carl and Jason from Wampa's Lair. Actually, here's the weird thing: I have never. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I have ever met anybody from any of the other Star Wars Report shows in person before. In fact, in all of the podcasting that I've done, there's only been one person that I actually had known in person prior to that person being like a temporary co-host. But that wasn't with Star Wars Report. And I find it's probably a little bit ironic that I haven't met at least some of the people from Star Wars Report, because Michael lives, like, I'm in Fairburn, Georgia, just southwest of the Atlanta area. It's kind of like Atlanta, Hateville, College Park, East Point, College Park, Union City, Fairburn, but it's all kind of crammed together in the metro, supposedly. And then Michael here is up in Kennesaw, so he's kind of northwest. But then relatively close to here is Fayetteville, Georgia, also in the metro, which is where Riley and Bethany from Star Wars Report are. And yet we've never met in person before. I don't even know where the hell I'm going. I don't even know what I'm playing, man. I'm just running around. Say what now?
I said there's more than that. That's just in our network. We also have Scott Ryfun is down in St. Simons. And then we have Steve Glosson is down in Hazelhurst, Georgia, which is near St. Simons. Down in Atlanta is Jeremy Williamson from Star Wars Expose. And I know I'm missing some people, but yeah, it's Atlanta is like the hub for Star Wars podcasters.
It seems like, and yet we don't ever hardly meet. Of course, my co-host or my other host for Beyond the Films, Mark Hurlman, I mean, he's out in Oregon. Let's see, quick answers. Dante asks, what's the next episode of Star Wars from the Star Wars Home Video Library? I honestly don't know. I think probably the next thing is going to be updating the visual timeline to include some other stuff. And The Force Awakens. Problem is we're in the process of hopefully moving if everything goes well. We're kind of in the last days of hopefully figuring all that out. And the room that I would usually set up to record in has boxes of packed stuff all over the place. So I'm not going to be able to record any new vlogs or new episodes of From the Star Wars Home Video Library until that's all dealt with. So that's all out of the way. Let's see. Compton Roberts says, just listen to the Wampus Lair episode about the theater posters. Great episode. Haven't heard that one myself, but I hardly ever get the chance to listen to podcasts at the moment. Jackson Alonso says, so since you're playing Star Wars Battlefront made by DICE, what do you think of the Battlefield 1 trailer? I actually haven't watched it. I've seen it pop up in my feed a couple of times, but I haven't taken the time to check it out. Mainly because I have little to no actual interest in Battlefield. The only Battlefield games that I've played was a horrible one on the Wii. I think it was the Wii. Or that was Medal of Honor. Hell if I remember. Where am I going? I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just like running so I don't get shot. I maybe ought to run towards the objective and actually do something to help. But the only Battlefield game that I know for sure that I've played is I played some of Battlefield 4, I believe it. Yeah. But it was something I got on sale on PSN specifically because I wanted to be able to just compare the engine for the game to the engine for this game, since it's supposedly the same engine, to see, okay, well, like, the jumps in this game suck. Is that a thing with the engine, or is that a thing with this game? So, yeah, my Battlefield frame of reference is relatively small. Michael, what about you? Are you a Battlefield player, and have you seen or have an opinion on the Battlefield 1 trailer?
Are there lightsabers in that game?
No, I do not believe there are lightsabers in that game.
Nah, I'm out.
Of course, there are barely lightsabers in this game, technically, so...
Well, there's as many lightsabers as there was in the OT. So,
I don't know. No, there are not, because there were 3 lightsabers in the OT. Right? No, there were 4.
Yeah, I guess.
There were 4. Because you had 2 blue, 1 red, and 1 green. Because Obi-Wan had one, then there was Anakin's, then there was Vader's, then there was Luke's, and I'm assuming that Palpatine
color...
kept his under his robes or something.
Yeah, somewhere under there. Go.
I keep running toward the thing to stop it, hitting triangle to activate my personal shield, only to forget that I have no charges left because I just finished up one of those challenges that required you to use like 30 of them. So I'm out, yo. I don't know. Can we hold them for 6.5 minutes for like less than a football field worth of space? This is not gonna be pretty. Or as I've been joking with my wife because we've been watching Prison Break. It's not gonna be pretty. You gotta do the teabag voice when you say something's not gonna be pretty. Not gonna be pretty. And yeah, we're just kind of like. We're holding the 1 point, and they're going to start coming out of other doors and kicking our asses, I'm just saying. Like this guy. And his buddy. Who just helped me get some kills, though, so it's okay. Alright. I need to... Yeah, you can't see from here. I need to check my and see what I've got
Oh
left.
my god.
Holy crap!
Are they like inches from the?
Yeah, like inches from the thing. It's interesting. I'm down in the basement like area, down in like the caves or the mines, and I'm looking at my character model, and it's kind of nice. Like, it's the black stormtrooper armor. It looks more gray because of the light that's on it, but you can see like the scarring on the shoulder pad, and like dirt on it, I guess from use or just dying. But see, that begs the question. In this game, when you die and you respawn, are you the same trooper again somehow respawning, or are you playing as a different trooper?
Ooh. You're different.
How do you know? Yeah. It ain't like your voice changes.
Well, it's because the mic makes them all sound the same.
Exactly. All right, let's see. Question from Compton Roberts. Do you think the Insider Canon stories will be released somewhere else eventually, like in an actual anthology? Actual anthology, no. But if you pick up the Del Rey samplers each year, the little Del Rey like preview booklet things, they usually have all of the different short stories from that year, or most of them, inside the book. Like, the one from this year is actually so big that it's the size of a paperback book, and it's got In Brief, it's got all the Blade Squadron stories, and I think there's one other one.
Did not think you were going to say Brief.
Oh, In Breed? Now we're not talking about the Skywalker family. No, In Brief by my buddy Janine. Janine, well, she goes by Spindlove now that she's a professional writer. She was one of the early Star Wars podcasters with us back in the day with Rich Siegfried and her husband Ron on Requiem of the Outcast back in the day. But yeah, you can get those. I would just look on eBay for like Del Rey sampler, Del Rey Star Wars sampler, and they've been putting them out about once every major convention season. Which is basically once a year. And some of them are flat little booklets, some of them are thicker, but they tend to have excerpts from a bunch of the more recent books, plus some, if not all, of the insider short stories. Yeah, we probably just lost.
Yeah, there they went.
There we go. I'm like, come on.
We just got bombarded. So.
Let's see. Favorite... let's see. Richard Vellotti asked what our favorite... Wow, I sucked. What our favorite weapon is in the game. I like the T-21B for its stopping power, but I don't know. I actually kind of... I picked up the Rhodian Blaster the other day, the whatever it's called, Rhodian Blaster, for the contract, and I kind of like that better than I like the DL-44. I like the T-21B better than most. I like this one right here when I'm doing the live streaming, because it doesn't really need accuracy so much as spray and pray, more or less. Just point in the general direction of a bad guy and hold down the trigger and just pray that it hits something. So, Michael, what do you think? Best weapon? You still swear by the E11, don't you? In many cases?
I do. Yep, E11. Oh, yeah. Almost all. The only time I would not suggest the E11 is for something like Hero Hunt, where you know you've got to do a lot of damage in a very short time. In that case, I would probably go with the Jawa Blaster, or whatever that one's called.
You know what's funny?
It's the C19 or something like that.
I was huge. Let me see. The Jawa Blaster is... Or not the Jawa Blaster. You're talking about the CA-87. The Rhodian Blaster I was talking about was the DT-12. Which I guess I could switch to. Well, let's see if I can. Let's see if I can kill some more with this thing first, and I'll switch next. But yeah, so after all the talk that I did on the episode of this stream where I went over the patch notes when they did the update that changed Hero Hunt for the better, I haven't played Hero Hunt since they changed it. Since they made it so you do the damage, and the damage that you do manages to like give you a portion of like a spinning wheel that determines who actually gets to be the hero next, instead of it being whoever gets the kill shot. I was so excited about that change, and then I haven't done squat. I mean, I almost feel like I was a Republican right after the last time they took the House. Oh, wait. I see, you knew there had to be some politics in there somewhere. It even bleeds over sometimes into Cloud City Casino. Let's see. Do I like the RT-97C? I think so. I'll switch to it next because I honestly, for the most part, I can't remember the names of of many of the weapons that I'm using because they all seem kind of like random letters and numbers because I'm not big on that as far as like what I keep track of in the continuity and all. So I don't know. I mean, I know the T21B because I use it all the time. I know this is the first thing you choose. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's the first one you can choose. And then you got the DL-44 and the Jawa shotgun ion whatever. Although seriously, that thing must have multiple modes, or whenever they blasted R2-D2, R2-D2 should have just been blasted into pieces. Okay, so he asked about the RT. Oh, that thing. That's a heavy blaster. I could do that. That's still going to go toward my thingamabob. So, all right, Jackson Alonso, we have the RT-97C going on. Favorite hero in this game? I guess we'll go with hero and villain. Michael, you take it first. Favorite hero, favorite villain of the 4 you can choose right now. You can't choose Lando. I know you want to, but he's not in the game yet.
All right, since I can't choose Lando, Nine Numb and Greedo. Easy.
Really? Nice.
Yep.
I think I'm actually probably going to lean that direction myself. I think they're a little more versatile. They don't feel like one-trick ponies. The other ones before that do. Then again, there's something to be said for the massive killing power of Vader when you get it in the right match. And you're just like, we were playing Extraction the other night, and I got Vader and just tore through people. And that was it. Wow. Yeah. I just started shooting the ceiling when I ran up the stairs. Let's see. So that answers Richard's question. Jackson Alonso says he has a crush on Felicity Jones. You know, I wouldn't be except to be able to say, "Hey, it's the lady in the trailer for Rogue One." I don't think I could pick out Felicity Jones from a lineup. Like I wouldn't be able to tell you what she's been in. I wouldn't be able to tell you squat about her. Just I don't know. She hasn't appeared on my radar. Very much like in some ways like the cast of Rogue One, The Force Awakens. Like I was like, oh my gosh! Everybody's like, Oscar Isaac is Poe Dameron. Sweet. Who's Oscar Isaac? It's almost like.
Well, that's my favorite.
Oh, go ahead. I'll be Leia.
Because everybody was telling me. Everybody was telling me because they're saying like, oh yeah, you know, if you're really liking John Boyega, you know, because leading up to it, I was like, this guy's funny. I like him.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, well, if you like John Boyega, you need to watch Attack the Block. I'm like, nope, not till 2020. And they're like, really? You're gonna wait till all the Star Wars movies are out?
You don't want it to mess up your. Yeah. I'm thinking about. Like I think like when I hear when I heard Felicity Jones' name, were the names of really anybody in Rogue One with the exception of Forrest Whitaker. I think my response was a lot like John Boyega's dad's response when he got the job. Do you remember what that was?
What is Star Wars?
Yeah. What is Star Wars? You got Star Wars? What is Star Wars? I love that. No, and I don't know if that's true or not, but that's a damn good story. Yeah,
exactly. It doesn't need to be true.
It doesn't need to be true. It's just freaking awesome as it is.
And the best part about that is I was telling a buddy of mine because he is from another country in Africa. I can't remember the name of the country, but it's
that's
something
racist.
over that way, right? And it's not. It's more maybe nationalist.
Nah, it's more just ignorant American, which we do really well. Michael and I on the show, we do ignorant American really well. Yeah.
So anyhow, I was telling him about it, and he's like, oh, he goes, yeah, but what is Star Wars? And I'm like, Abdul, seriously? He's like, no, I don't know. And I'm like, so I show him, you know, the logo of the Star Wars logo. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Oh, son of a bitch. Sorry, they took 9 Numb.
It's like,
and so I'm like,
what's
okay.
wrong with you, boy?
Well, he'll at least recognize Darth Vader, right? So I show him Darth Vader. No, nothing. Never seen him before in his life. So I'm like, all right, boy, I'm gonna set you down. So he's watched both. He's waiting because he goes to school as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he said he just got out. So he actually probably watched at least one of them today. But he was watching through. He saw the first one, and then he saw Empire, because I hooked him up with the despecialized versions of those. Cool. And his favorite character is actually Obi-Wan.
Cool. So basically, what you did was you found somebody from a culture in Africa, and you forced your preferences on him. I don't think that. No, I don't think you're allowed to use your white privilege like that anymore. Just saying.
Too bad. Already did it.
All right, but yeah, there we go. So, see, I find it interesting just when you run into the cultural differences with Star Wars, like sometimes you'll run into cultures where it's not as big. You'll also run into places where the way that it's approached is different. The way the art styles are heavily different, but that's more of a cultural art style thing. And then you'll find, like, when I was doing my initial research from the Star Wars Home Video Library, which hopefully I'll be able to turn into a book soon. I just need to find a way to get good pictures and not be all copyright shat upon. But I want to do a guide to it. But it's interesting how, I mean, if you go look at the United States, you ask somebody, hey, when were you first able to get the Star Wars films in widescreen in the United States? Almost everyone will answer, if they have a clue, 1992 with the VHS set, which was not true. You could actually get New Hope in 1989 on Laserdisc in widescreen. But even that isn't necessarily the first case you could get it worldwide. Because in Japan in '86, they did the Special Collection, which was the first widescreen availability ever. And Japan has sort of a different history with Star Wars on home video because of how Laserdisc was so prominent there relative to how relatively unprominent, if that's a phrase, it was here.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Let's see. So Jack says, I love Star Wars Battlefront, and this is the game that I probably play the most. Why do you think this game is hated so much? Let me come back to that in a second. I want to make sure we also get the other one read.
Expensive. Oh, okay.
It's expensive. Let's see. Literally in the middle of an episode of Cloud City Casino where that's Michael, and Bruce are debating which order to show him the movies. And cool. So Cops and Roberts is listening to the earlier episodes of Cloud City Casino and knows exactly the situation you were talking about. That almost never happens. Or somebody actually is listening. It's like, I actually know this from the show, because most of the time... It's what is Star Wars Beyond the Films? What is Cloud City Casino? Let's see. But to answer the question about why this game is hated so much, lack of depth, lack of content. It's great visually. It is great auditorily. It is run-of-the-mill shooter-wise. It has no story. It has very little real progression. What progression it has is unlocking mostly random... I gotta be Leia. Again, mostly random cosmetic stuff that you don't really want. And when you are trying to unlock things and spend credits to get something, the progression for getting credits and getting XP is anemic. Being someone who played Destiny hardcore and then started playing this, there's been a lot of times I've just stopped playing Battlefront because it's just not a good first-person shooter. Compared to what is on the market today, it just isn't. It doesn't have the staying power, it doesn't have the depth, it doesn't have the content. That said, it makes for a fun Star Wars experience, even if it's an incredibly shallow experience, so we play it and enjoy it anyway. You know what I mean? But that's kind of like the Phantom Menace, right? We had huge expectations. It didn't really turn out to meet our expectations, but damn it, it's Star Wars, so we're going to go see it in the movies 3 or 4 times. That's just the way we are. Was that a little... overly honest about the thoughts on Battlefront? I got one thing to add to that, but I'm going to let you jump in first.
Yeah, I think it really, for me, and this is opinion, I don't have anything to base this on in fact, but it makes the most sense for what probably happened. I feel like that what happened was that they essentially needed to push out a AAA title in a much shorter time than it takes to push out a AAA title. But because you've got big companies like EA and Lucasfilm and Disney saying, yeah, we want this, you're not going to say no. Even if you... I mean, it's like... well, you're a teacher, so it's harder to work for you. But if someone... Like, if you sell doors or something, and then you have... like this massive apartment complex want to buy all your doors, well, you're going to... Son of a... bitch, no! Sorry, I went to go get 9 and
somebody already
as
took
soon
it.
as I clicked on him, the second I clicked on him. So then I'm like, well, fine, I'll go do Luke. So second, Yeah, he's gone too.
Nice.
I was like, ah!
Sorry, I'm adding
and I'll be Han Solo.
Adding a retake here. There we go. So, yeah, I would agree. I mean, it seems like they were really trying to push it out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I do think the game is getting better. I think that right now the game is about where it should have been when it was initially released. The problem is how many months later, and an extra $15 worth of DLC that they've charged you for it as well. Yeah. That's not as it's not right. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the issue. I mean, really, it was designed for casual gamers to jump in and jump out. It wasn't designed for a long commitment. That's why a player at the first level and a player at the highest level at the level cap are honestly going to be playing with different options, but the gameplay itself does not significantly vary worth a damn.
Right.
But again, I think that's because that was a conscious choice. And if you're going to develop a story, it's going to take a lot longer, especially with the development of cutscenes and whatnot. It seems like they really want to kind of push this out and start the ground floor of a new franchise. Here's my thing, though. And I've talked about this on... So for those who listen to Cloud City Casino, I apologize. You're about to hear me bitch about the same thing.
Because they listen to the show? Oh, okay.
No, because I'm going to bitch about the same thing. A perfect example of what EA and DICE consider content for this game is, again, I would say that their idea of content is mostly cosmetic or barely different gameplay feels based on a grind, right? Based on grinding for credits or whatever. So they introduced the HUT contracts. You know where I'm going with this, because you've heard me bitch about it so many times. They introduced the HUT contracts. Yeah. Now, up until this point, if you want to get a new star card, you pay a significant amount of credits to get it, or a decent amount of credits, and then you pay to upgrade it and all that kind of stuff, right? And there are daily challenges and stuff that you can do, which are fine, that can get you more credits or whatever. But they introduced HUT contracts that is basically pay us like you normally would for a star card, but then do all this other shit before we actually give you the star card you just spent the money on. It's not do this thing and earn it. It's pay us first, then do this thing and earn it. It seems like it should be one or the other. You're paying for the privilege of unlocking something when you still have to do the shit to unlock it. And that, to me, is asinine, but a perfect example of the kind of crap they pull with just EA's business model that's built around, in many respects, built around grind, or pay us for more content. And in this case, it's pay us and then grind for something that honestly you probably should have been able to do through having it as a reward. Like, it doesn't feel like a reward if I got to pay for it first, and what I get back is something I would have gotten before. Like, it's different if I buy a lottery ticket for a couple bucks and I win a huge lottery prize, as opposed to what this feels like, which is basically, and yeah, we can do Walker Salt next, Jackson. It's like I walk into McDonald's and I pay them my $5 or whatever for my value meal, but then they ask me to go clean the bathroom and clean up the inside of the little toy area, the little kids area, and then once I've done that, I come back and they finally give me my frickin' meal. No, I paid for that shit already. Why am I having to do all this other crap? When every other time I've wanted, and maybe it's like, okay, yes, you can just spend your $5 and get this hamburger meal, but if you want the McRib, and really, who really wants the McRib? If you want the McRib, you're gonna have to give us the money and then go clean the bathroom. The hell? It doesn't work for me. That model of the way they did the HUT contract. Now, granted, I'm doing it because it's more stuff to do in a game that has very little to actually do as far as progression goes. But I feel like an ass paying for it every time to unlock it. Like, I unlock it, feel like an ass. Later, when I'm working on it, I'm like, this is kind of fun to work on. But at the moment where it says, you got to pay 8,000 credits that took you forever to earn to be able to work towards unlocking this thing, I'm pissed every time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel as strongly as you do about it. I get what you're saying. I do. For me, I like having more stuff to do.
But do you like having to pay to have more stuff to do when before you could have gotten... there we go. Hut contract completed. Speaking of, that should have just unlocked something.
See,
I just unlocked the
Relby,
the Relby V10.
Whoa.
Sweet.
To me, in this game, the money, it's like I always have more money than what I actually
But that's because you don't buy anything in this game. Whereas I'm trying to unlock everything, so I'm constantly having to just earn credits to unlock more of the damn hut contracts.
Well,
like, I'm at level 52, and I don't have enough credits. Yeah. I am a broke...
you bought too many emotes.
I didn't buy that many emotes, man. Look, I ain't saying EA is a gold digger. But it ain't messing... Never mind.
Yeah, that's...
We ain't going
so
now.
Anyhow...
I
mean, it's just, to me, like, I don't really want any of the unlockable heads. Like, you can be this old woman. Like, don't you want to be an old woman? No, not really. I'm good. I'll save my credits until I can be an Athorian.
So you work your way all the way up to the point where you are at level 50, and you've unlocked the Twi'lek, right? And you've unlocked the Quarren. And that's, now you're going to pay 17,000 credits or whatever it is to get them. Now... it makes sense that when you unlock something, it doesn't necessarily just unlock that. It might unlock the ability to buy it. Plenty of games do that. But it has always felt, and we've talked about this on the show also, that this game, when it does its double credit weekends, feels normal. Whereas when it's on regular progression, it feels like you're getting credits at an anemic rate.
Yeah. That's one thing I'd like to see fixed with the game. They need to... pretty much what they're calling double XP should be just XP, and then
like single
it should
XP.
be double that for double XP. Yeah, that I agree. I get what you're saying. I don't like the idea of if they were to just say, for instance, hey, you reached level 30, now you can do this contract, because that means that while you're trying to get to that level, you may not have stuff to do. So that's why I would rather do it that way as opposed to say. Sorry, I'm trying to kill Palpatine.
Well, but you still have access to the daily challenges to get credits and stuff as you're going. You still have stuff that, at least for about the first 20 to 30 levels, you are relatively frequently unlocking new material or new star cards and whatnot as you're progressing level to level. I mean, it's not that there's nothing to do. And I understand the idea that the hut contracts give you something to work towards early on. And it's another path to progression. It's just kind of, it's just a frustrating thing. But I think that that's another thing that we're talking about. Well, why do people gripe about the game? The progression system, I mean, you don't feel as though you at a low level and you at a high level are really all that much different. The things that you unlock in many cases feel very similar.
Which is good, because
everybody's on a level playing field. Because it's designed for casuals.
Yeah. But and that, I mean, that's the thing, is it's I would not want to play the game if everybody who's already reached level 50, because they just played the crap out of it, now they are just destroying me every second, because that means that it's going to be miserable getting to level 50.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It makes me think of, again, to make the comparison to a really competent shooter, which I always say, my joke is always, I went back and played Battlefront. After I played some Destiny, I was glad to get back to a competent shooter for a little bit. Hey, now I get to be 9-num. But when you think about Destiny, Destiny has two different major tracks for its multiplayer, combat. You have regular, in which you're able to bring in whatever abilities you've unlocked. But everybody's power level is effectively the same. Like my hand cannon and somebody else's hand cannon are the exact same power, but they may have different abilities I've unlocked that may be different, like a faster reload or something. But then I think about their other mode. They've got a thing called Iron Banner, and there's other modes that use a similar concept to Iron Banner. And the idea with Iron Banner is damn, die, Greedo! Is basically that, in that case, power does matter. So if I am level 40, light 300, or plus, and I'm carrying around this awesome exotic hand cannon, yes, I'm going to be tearing up the people who walk in at like level 5 with baby weapons that are like of the common variety. But there's a choice, and there's real progression. But of course, in that case, it's almost an unfair comparison because the progression there is also to a degree like an RPG-based, MMO-based thing because you have story missions and it's designed for that long-term progression. Let's see. Cops Roberts says, okay, we're going to jump to Walker Assault here in a moment. I think they should have kept LucasArts around for the in the form of a story team, people with experience in video games. Yes, would have been great to keep LucasArts around in that sense and have them work with the story group. I missed who said it. Somebody saying that they don't think that it's
here's
shallow.
The thing on that, though.
Yeah, what's that? Sorry.
So here's the thing on that, though. LucasArts by the end had really become more of a from everything I've read, at least, they had become more of a publisher, like say EA, rather than a developer, like say DICE.
Well, that's what that's kind of what they became now. Their name is being used as a publishing arm as opposed to being a development. But there were still some games at least that were, that were in-house as opposed to things like, hey, let's have Chrome Studios do it. When Chrome Studios was told they wanted, I'm going to back out of here so we can go to Walker Assault. Yeah, when Chrome Studios was told they wanted a polished Star Wars game with Clone Wars Republic heroes, they really meant polished. In other words, all the character models in the cutscenes look like they're covered in Vaseline, really polished. Sadly,
and that was like the last game to come out.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, because pretty much you go back and look at it, I don't think there was anything after that other than mobile games. They really got into doing mobile games.
There we go. I'm trying to make sure that I've got all my... There we go. All the students have what they need. Okay, so Walker Assault. Hey, let's play Walker Assault for Outer Rim. Oh, wait. No large map things for Outer Rim at all. Not half, but a significant chunk of the game modes in the game completely dumped from the concept of Outer Rim. Though, thankfully, Bespin is going to bring us some big maps. They've already promised that. Makes me wonder if we're going to get, whether it's Bespin or Death Star or whatever, if we're going to wind up getting some DLC that is only big map as opposed to only small map. Jakku, the free DLC was big map. It brought us the Jakku. I mean, you got a small map also, but the new mode was big map.
Yeah. I think that they need to still be implementing free content amongst the paid stuff, because like I said, even for, I mean, if you take out Outer Rim, this game is still not there for its initial price point.
Well, I mean, they're just not necessarily adding a lot, but I mean, they've done, here's a new maps here and there. Here's a map that's repurposed from survival to multiplayer or multiplayer to survival. I mean, as much as this game, again, I feel like it's shallow on progression, it's shallow on options, the weapons don't really feel it. I mean, all the things that I say that's negative about it. It is getting better, and they are seemingly supporting it with both a big amount of paid content and a fair amount of free content. And in that sense, I think it's working, but it's just kind of working, not... I think you said it well. I'm going to switch to the Relby because I've never played with it. I think you said it well, that it's basically a question of, it wasn't where it should have been to start with, and to me that's a big issue because it means a lot of people have probably walked away. Let's see, we got another contract. I can do 3 blaster pistol streaks and 15 kills with the scout pistol. Oh, that'll be fun since I never use a scout pistol. And now that I've bought the contract, now I'm down to 1,000 credits again. So fun for me.
Yeah, right there.
I'm good. Oh, we're back on Jakku. Why does everybody want to keep going back to Jakku? I love the way John Boyega says Jakku, because he doesn't say Jakku, he says Jakku every time. He puts the emphasis on ku, and nobody else does. It's like Han and Han, right? Oh shit. Let's see. Hello, Lego Lover, one of our regulars popping up here. Trying to keep an eye on the chat so I don't miss too much. I'm sure I've missed a couple. I know in a couple times I've missed who said something. See, Jabba's never looked better. Oh, you mean on this? Yeah, Jabba does look good for Jabba. Us. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, gonna be better than he ever did in any of the special editions.
We need a a hero. All right, so I'm gonna be Luke and just cut people down for size with his lightsaber. Please, Luke, don't speak because the voice acting in this game is atrocious. They really didn't do a very good job in this game of making the voices match the characters. I think Nine Numb and Greedo sound more like themselves than basically anyone else. Die! Imperial scum. Well, where's this? What's this? Hello, hello. Are we gonna activate this? I was gonna say, you're just gonna activate it, or are you gonna stand on it? There we go. Yes. Yeah, it's funny when I go back and watch any of those older home video versions of the films, just seeing like 1997 Jabba, like, damn! Poor 1997 Jabba. Poor 1999 Yoda. Holy shit. Oh, that's harsh. Copson Robert says, it's post-crash Hamill. That's why he sounds funny. Oh! Damn!
Damn.
Yeah. I think you just got the damn on both sides. Yeah, I'm getting a lag because I'm force pushing. It's like force push. Ah! It's like I'm fighting against the stunt doubles from Spaceballs. These are not them. You captured their stunt doubles.
Jesus.
I don't think he's in this game either. He is on Walking Dead though now.
Yeah, that's right.
Wop, wop, wop.
It's all right.
Not that I'm watching that
Literally,
garbage anymore. I'm just so negative. I'm being negative again. It's what we were talking about on the show about how I'm being positive because I'm positive something sucks.
Yeah.
There you go. Jackson's asking what system? PlayStation 4. I've got the standard PlayStation 4, and Michael there's got that Vader special super duper uber Darth Vader edition.
He gives me dark side powers.
That's what you call it. No. Dark side powers. Yeah, last time I had dark side powers, I had to use some Pepto-Bismol. There we go. Yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah, for as much as, you know, 97 Jabba the Hutt gets crap relative to the later Jabba the Hutt, he's still better. I mean, the Star Wars special editions, the original 97 special editions, and how screwed up is it to say original special editions? The original special editions, I mean, they've stood the test of time better than one would have necessarily expected. I think the Star Wars films in general, I think that's something that always blows my mind. Like, when I pop in the 2011 or 2013 Blu-rays of the, or 2015 Blu-rays of the classic trilogy films, I'm always amazed at just how well they still stand up. Granted, they've been gone through and cleaned up multiple times, but I mean, even the parts that weren't special effects in the first place and things like that. I mean,
right, yeah.
They still stand well. Okay,
that's because they were shot on film. The reason for that's because they were shot on film as opposed to being shot digitally. That's a big part of why JJ shoots on film, because film will actually be able to stand the test of time where digital will not. There's only so much you can do with digital.
Dang it, I need my ion stuff, but I didn't do it. I didn't do it the last time I respawned. So, I'm trying to think. Like, this Relby is odd. This weapon that I've got. It's not automatic fire. I can pull the trigger and it fires, and it can fire relatively quickly. But, I don't know. Let's see. Does this version of Star Wars Battlefront seem more violent than Battlefronts 1 and 2? I mean, they're all shooters. I'd say it's about the same. It's just that you don't have the distinction of like running to vehicles and the capture points as much. So I feel like most of the modes in this case, I mean, I think you said it the other day when we were off air, that a lot of times it sort of feels like no matter what mode you're playing, people play this as if it's Blast.
Yeah.
Right, they're playing objective modes as if they're playing Team Deathmatch. Basically. Alrighty then. Now that I've actually contributed nothing to the team, I'm too busy babbling.
We're all used to it.
That I'm babbling, that I'm contributing nothing to the team, I know how that goes. That's right. I put in all my energy at work, you know, contributing to the team. So when I start playing, I'm like, I'm going to do my own thing. No, I don't. Well, okay, I work alone, but I don't work alone. Like I work from home. I work from to sort of elaborate. I work from home in the sense that I teach online. So most of the time I'm working from home, but I also supervise multiple other social studies teachers, and I'm like the de facto tech support half the time. So, which is always the case. No matter what job I'm in, I'm like the de facto tech support people. Don't you hate it when you have to explain aspect ratios to people? I say this because a friend of mine asked the difference between, he's heading for something and something. I'm not sure what the other one is. But yeah, I have issues because I have trouble telling the difference or remembering the numbers for the different versions of widescreen. But I've lost track of how many times I've tried to explain what a letterbox version of a film will look like on a widescreen TV. Dude, it's just black boxes on every freaking side, including left and right. Okay, it's black boxes. Because people have asked, well, should I get the original trilogy from 2006 or 2008 so I can get those unaltered editions from my widescreen TV? I want to see them in widescreen on my big TV. I'm like, well, yeah, but, I mean, make sure that your TV can do the zoom in thing, because otherwise you're going to wind up with the letterbox thing. They're like, letterbox, what? Yeah, it's not great, not perfect. Far from perfect.
I wouldn't do the zoom in. Honestly, the thing, if you want to watch the original cuts, you need to either A, do that and understand that by doing so you're not going to get it in widescreen, or B, do the Harmy's despecialized. Those are your only options right now. Besides that new one that just came out, but that's only the first film.
But see, that's to me, that's like anathema. I would do it. I would watch the despecialized editions, but to me, that's not something I would necessarily recommend because it's not a legit edition. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if we start as... I love the fact that... I'm torn. I love the fact that as fans, there are people out there who have that level of technical capability to give us something like that until Lucasfilm does. Mm-hmm. But there's also a part of me that says, if fans are doing that, why will Lucasfilm ever feel like they need to? Because so far, despite the fact that they can make a shit ton of money off of it, they're still not doing it.
Because the fact of the matter is that the moment they do that, I'm buying it.
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean? And so will everybody else. They're not going to go, well, they already have the despecialized, because guess what? There's still constantly, every time there's a version that comes out, everyone's still asking, okay, where's the original theatrical version? So,
exactly.
I think it probably has... I don't know. I think it's a couple of things as to why we've not seen it already, but I don't believe that it's an issue of we'll never see it like some people want to claim.
Yeah, we probably will. I think there's legal issues they got to deal with to be able to do it, but if Disney could work out details with Sony to be able to bring Spider-Man into Captain America Civil War and bring him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, then they can figure this out, because it's an easy thing to figure out for the cash, you would think.
You say that, but remember all the stuff with Fantastic Four.
Yeah,
I don't know if you know about all that.
Yeah, where they basically they killed the comic line, and they basically didn't promote it for crap so that it could die at the studio. Yep. A quick comment here. Yeah. Kenny asks if I'm just gonna let myself die. When Ultra HD versions come out, will I be covering them from the Star Wars Home Video Library? Presumably, though I don't know when that's going to happen, and that would mean eventually getting one of those big old TVs, Ultra HD TVs, and a player for that, which right now I don't have. Let's see. There are 35mm scans of the films if you can find them. I've got some of those. No, not 35mm. I've got the 16mm scans, the mono 16mm ones, the Pogo versions. Hey, I finally killed somebody. I actually gave a crap. And then
now, what's the difference between the Pogo and the Harmies?
Harmies, from what I understand, is they're taking multiple sources and essentially trying to recreate the original version, and in some cases they're adding to it and making it better. I think. Though I could be confusing that with some of the other fan edits. But from the standpoint of the Pogo ones, I mean, they're really just slightly cleaned up full captures of the original 16mm and 8mm. That's it. That's all that it is.
Yeah. These aren't. I mean, these aren't so much a matter of they're trying to make it better. They're trying to make them as original as possible by deleting certain things and stuff like that. So it's definitely done digitally, but that's because there is no. Up until just recently, there was no unaltered source in order to do that. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to do it digitally. So, but there was something that came out a few months ago that was someone had gotten a hold of the original like an original reel or something like that, and they completely
restored it,
set that up. So yeah, restored that. So you know, hopefully we can, because that's just, you know, a new hope. Maybe we'll see something from, say, whatchamacallit later.
There we go. I'm switching to my blaster. Given the fact that I got to do something. Cool. Alrighty, here we go. I switched weapons. I'm sucking real bad. I don't care, but I need to try to work on that blaster pistol streak thing, as if I'm going to do that on this mode where there's so many people. Let's say, how are we going to blow up with our little thingy? I got a orbital strike I want to... Oh, gonna die. Yep, died.
So, how do you do the whole whatchamacallit with tying up an AT-AT?
Oh, like, okay, so you're gonna fly. Do you have one?
I have a airspeeder, yeah.
Sweet. All right, so you're gonna fly close. It only works when they're vulnerable. So you got to wait for it to hit the circle. But you'll fly next to its legs, and you'll just grapple onto it with one of the triggers, and then it's just a matter, there'll be like a little gauge in the center of the screen near the bottom that shows like a range of upward and downward motion, and you're going to keep the speeder within that. And as you go, the range you're allowed to go in gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you've got to still keep it within that range in order to bring it down. It's actually not as hard as it sounds like. It's more hard to find a T-47 at the right moment to even be able to try it than it is for actually doing it once you got it.
Okay, cool. Well, I got a T-47, so I'm just gonna
hide out on the edges
till a situation presents itself.
Good call. Let's see. Are there young reader books besides Servants of the Empire series it's worth picking up? If we're talking about for the canon, Ezra's Gamble is a good lead-in to Spark of Rebellion. And depending on if you consider them young readers, you've got stuff like Moving Targets, Smuggler's Run, Weapon of a Jedi that are pretty good. And then you've got Lost Stars, which is a young adult book, which is phenomenal. It's my favorite of the new canon so far.
I've heard good things about the TFA, the young readers TFA.
Is that, yeah, that's pretty. It's pretty. It's better than. Well. It's better than the adult one. What was the other one? TFA Junior Novelization and Ray's Story. Yeah, Ray's Story is pretty good too.
Yeah.
That is true. Let's see.
I did like her Survival Guide. That one was fun.
Yeah, Survival Guide was good too.
We actually have an episode on that.
Yep.
With Jason Fry.
Yep. And he actually signed the sucker. I thought it was funny. It was funny that like you're going through all these hoops to try to make sure to get Jason on the show, and like how are you going to do it and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, I worked with them on the Atlas stuff. I can just ask him if he wants to be on. But you're like, I'm doing this, and I'm going to get him on the show. I'm like, all right, sure. Had a comment about having the VCR versions. Yes, I've got the VHS versions, all the US versions actually of the Star Wars Films on Home Video, which goes to from the Star Wars Home Video library stuff. Let's see. All right, running. Have I read Battlefront Twilight Company? Yes, I have.
Oh my god.
I've read all of the new canon stuff, or whatever you want to call it. Well, it's all of it either way. But the new canon stuff in particular, and I've been doing reviews for them up on the canon, and putting that up on StarWarsReport.com. Don't start that shit now, because that's gonna blow up the chats. What that's gonna do. But yeah, I've read it. I like Hazrem Namir. I think he's a cool character. I think it would have been nice if this game had any story even remotely resembling, that, but not so much.
Ugh.
All right, I need to get to a walker. Well, see, because back in the day, my first foray into, in fact, the internet's first foray, because we were the first ones to put one out into serious Star Wars fan audio dramas, was Second Strike. And the reason why I wrote Second Strike the way that I did and we portrayed it the way that we did was because we wanted to have a gritty war story in Star Wars, because there hadn't been one as of mid 2002 when we were really putting it, and in late 2001 we were putting it into production. So I like the idea of a gritty war story in Star Wars. I think it works well, but it was also one where, you knew a lot of characters weren't going to make it out. You don't expect to necessarily see the characters again, and it's very Batman versus Superman, and there's not a lot of hope in the book. Why didn't you like it? I figured that of all things, it's Battlefront. It's relating to a game. I figured you'd dig it. No lightsabers? Is that the problem? Or mostly no lightsabers?
No. No, and that's actually, I was just joking about that earlier.
Let's jump out.
That's totally fine with me. I expected to like it. My problem was I didn't finish it because it was kind of terrible as far as the writing of it. That first chapter, I felt like that what they told in that first chapter could have been told in about 2 lines, and they took a few pages, and I'm like, yeah, I get it.
They do that a lot.
Oh, it's so, I'm like, dude, I'm not stupid. Make your point and go on. We're getting out of here.
15 kills. If we can. 15 kills with the. I was just checking to see what I need to do. 3 blaster pistol streaks, 15 kills with the scout. Yeah, let's try a different mode, because there's no way in hell I'm doing that on Walker Assault. Pick a mode, any mode. Can't be Fighter Squadron, because when I'm streaming, that thing screws up like crazy. I'm constantly bouncing back and forth. The lag is horrible.
Well,
let's see.
Turning point.
But okay. So Compson Roberts says, it really bugs me that there's no official designation for canon material, nothing like official continuity. Well, yeah. Well, they're just saying it's just canon. It's all canon. It's all even.
Yep.
But I think it needs to have a designation or something on the book that says this is Star Wars canon or this is something, because they're labeling Legends now, and they could theoretically continue telling more Legend stories outside of the Old Republic if they had a way to avoid brand confusion and continuity confusion by labeling the canon stuff. To an extent, it's still going to mess up some people.
Yeah. No, and that's not even the only problem with it. You got to remember too, they only have, and Eric Chernovich has talked about this, and he's one of the bigwigs over there at Del Rey, but they only have so much that they can do. I mean, that's a big part of why, now we have more publishers than we did beforehand, because we have both DK, we have Del Rey, and we have Disney Publishing. But even still, that means that for them to do a Legends book, that means that they would have to not do a canon book. And where Legends people would probably like that, the reality of the situation is so for instance, what was the last book that they put out from Legends?
From Legends, the last book was what? Was it Honor Among Thieves? Possibly Honor Among Thieves. It could have been. I don't know. The last one chronologically was Crucible.
Okay, so let's say Crucible, and I know this is a little unfair to say this, but it's not the point I'm trying to make per se. I think
I'm stuck in loading hell. By the way.
Excellent.
It's not loading.
So they're not going to put out. The sequel to Crucible is not going to do very well, because if you didn't read Crucible, you're not going to pick it up. And even if you did read Crucible, not because of the quality of that book, but because some people will say, well, this isn't the current canon stuff. This has nothing to do with what's going on in the Star Wars mythos right now. They're going to skip it. Too many people are going to skip it.
Oh yeah,
and that's the problem. Why sit there and put out, if you can basically say put out an old canon book? Why would you put out an old canon book as opposed to a new canon book that people are going to read because they want to know what's going on? And like I said, regardless of how you feel about either continuities, it's just from a money making standpoint. That's the best way to go.
All right, so we may have to take about a 2-minute break or something. I'm going to have to probably kill the stream at this point. Well, I don't know, because if I jump out of the game, it's going to kill the stream either way, from what I understand. Because the game itself has locked up on me or something. I'm basically sitting on a blank screen with the loading circle spinning, and it's been doing that for pretty much all of that explanation that you just provided, and we're at about 1:19. So let's see, it's about 7:03 by my clock here. I'm going to kill the stream, restart the game, and then Michael and I will be right back here within the next couple of minutes. Same bat time at, hence the shirt, as we're leaving just about. But kind of hang in there, folks. We are going to have to restart the stream in order to fix this, because I'm going to have to restart the game, and it's going to boot me out. So we will be back momentarily. For those who don't rejoin us again, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time. But hopefully y'all still be around here in a few minutes. Broadcast settings. And there's so many different steps to take. There we go. Okay, guys, killing it. We will be back.